The new Age of Revelation is here, but what does that mean for the X-Men universe? We're going to talk about it in this video for X-Men Age of Revelation number 0. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for X-Men Age of Revelation number 0. Now, before I get into the review, let's talk a little bit about what's going on. So, the X-Men have I feel like the X-Men line, and this is just me personally, has been a little bit hit or miss with a lot of their titles. So I think the Marvel office wants to revamp, and they are trying to maybe pay a little bit of an homage to something that was very popular, right? The Age of Apocalypse, and this new Age of Revelation. I like the idea up front, just of what's going on, but I do hope that eventually the Marvel office figures out a way to more organically bring in the X-Men as part of the vast Marvel universe. I think Krakoa was a really good compromise where, like, yeah, they're on Krakoa, they can do their own thing, but they can also interact with the Marvel universe as a whole, right? There was really good connections between Iron Man, the Iron Man titles, and some of the other Avenger titles where the X-Men were heavily involved. Storm was kind of running around all over the place as well. So I hope they kind of find that. This to me feels like Marvel giving themselves a little bit of space by putting this set in a universe that takes place in the future, X years in the future. So I don't know. I'm a little bit more wary going into this just because I haven't been like the stuff that's good at the X-Men line right now. It's pretty good, but some of the other stuff is just very hit or miss. I might do a whole tier list video of like the current X-Men titles for the from the Ashes era. Maybe one now that a lot of them are either wrapping up or they're coming to some conclusions for arcs, changing teams, all that. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. So, but let's talk about this X-Men Revelation 0 issue. This is a very good intro issue to explain what is going on. This will spin off into a bunch of titles. I'll talk about that in a minute. This book is written by Jed MacKay with art by Humberto Ramos, who is also doing the Fantastic Four book at the moment. So I don't know if he'll be on a title for the X-Men line or if he'll just be working on if this is just a one-off thing for that. So, but we also have inks by Victor Olasaba and colors by Edgar Delgado. This is pretty interesting. We have also letters and design by Jay Bowen. So in this book, X years from now, which I don't know if it means 10 or just like a, X of like an unknown. It's probably the latter. Welcome to the Age of Revelation. The Revelation territory stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River, a mutant land ruled over by the heir of apocalypse. While on the surface of a kind of mutant utopia, the cracks are beginning to show, and the lie that the land has been built upon stirs the flames of rebellion. Learn how this terrible future came to pass and what it means for the X-Men and the rest of the Marvel Universe in this kickoff to a special by Jed MacKay and Humberto Ramos, plus a glimpse at the many titles where the events of the Age of Revelation will play out in the months to come. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit separate from that. So we'll see. Just looking at some of the reviews, like the early reviews for this, like they're pretty positive overall because I think it's an interesting concept. It's just I feel like it is very difficult to be an X-Men fan at the time, not because of the quality of the title, just because of it feels like we keep kind of pivoting and zigzagging. So, but bringing in Doug Ramsey, I always do love that, and he is kind of the pivotal character. He is the heir of Apocalypse apparent. So, all right. This was a very interesting story. We see everything through the eyes of Zorn, Shen Zorn, who is one of the characters that's kind of narrating this. And it really is just a way to give us all the exposition that we need. We figure out who the big players are in here, like which X-Men are involved, what's going on, what the inciting conflict is, which feels quite timely because it is an X virus that like after the past few years, I feel like all that stuff is kind of on everyone's mind. So I don't see and the X-Men have always had kind of like a virus part of their bigger stories as well. Like I said, going back to this kind of like Age of Apocalypse feeling type of book. This is not a return to that, but this is just the same feeling, the same kind of premise where like, yeah, this could be an eventual future that happens because of this like one little incident kind of kicks off everything. I really like Doug Ramsey, and it's really fun to see what's happened because he was one of the ones that disappeared after the fall of Krakoa. So it's really cool to see. Even Jed McKay has a big thing of like why Doug Ramsey is the year of apocalypse and what's going on. But of course, it's really cool to kind of bring in some of those mutants that you don't normally see to kind of um, augment the story and really propel it to make sure that it makes sense. Humberto Ramos is great on art here. It feels very different than his normal art. There's also a really cool cover by Ryan Stegman, and there are flourishes of what I normally feel like Humberto Ramos's art looks like, but there are some other places where it really feels very different. Like the more I look at it, the more I feel like it's Humberto Ramos, but maybe it has to do a lot with the anchor. Um, that some of the art feels a little bit heavier, and it really fits within the context of this apocalyptic world. The colors are muted, especially for a lot of the flashback sequences, which I think really works. And the dialogue is just very clear. So I think the whole team just did. If you want an intro book, this is exactly how you do it. It's very well paced. There's definitely a lot to take in. So like I can understand people um, being like, what in the world is going on? But yeah, I really think that you definitely get a lot for your money here because this is a $5 issue with just a normal cover. So I can't imagine what some of the other covers are going to be. So if you have been wanting to get back into the X-Men, this book is probably a good jumping on point if you want to just kind of skip all of the Age of Krakoa for now, or the Fallen, the From the Ashes era for now. And I think it's going to lead to some really interesting titles that we'll learn more about probably at Comic Con. Comic Con's coming up. A lot of these series, this doesn't start till October, so I'm surprised that they did it here. But I think it's a good way to kind of tell the world like these things are coming. Make sure to order them in advance so that because they want to know which series they want to keep around, but also they want to make sure to know that some of the X-Men lines that you're kind of reading are probably going to end because of this. So we have about 16 titles that have been announced in this world. We have the Amazing X-Men, the Unbreakable X-Men, Binary, Cloak or Dagger, sorry, Long Shots, the Omega Kids, which seems very interesting within the context of this book, the Sinisters Six, Undeadpool, Expatriate X-Men, The Last Wolverine, which is interesting because Laura Kinney Sabretooth she has her own title as well. We have Iron and Frost, which I think the war really just loved. At the end of the Iron Man series and the Age of Krakoa, like Emma Frost and Iron Man, I think they really made a very good team. We also have the Radioactive Spider-Man, the X-Vengers, Rogue Storm, and then of course X-Men Book of Revelation, which I believe is going to be the main series, kind of where everything's going on. So yeah, it's a lot of really interesting titles. I am switching some of my reading habits for the X-Men, where I'll check out a number one and then just kind of uh, wait till the arc is complete and go back and read it either on Marvel Unlimited or maybe get the collection as a whole. It's also an easier way for me to do reviews on the channel because there's a lot of books. Like I just talked about 16 different books that are going to come out for the X-Men line. This is only the X-Men line. It doesn't include all the other Marvel titles. So I don't think they're going to stop all the other titles, but we'll see. I don't know if this is going to be an event that is worldwide. I can't see them slowing down on things like Amazing Spider-Man and Fantastic Four that really have their own momentum. So we'll see. But all that to say, if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you think of the upcoming Age of Revelation. Let me know who your favorite character is on the X-Men, because I think that's always fun. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.